How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out, means a ton. You guys get plenty of fun stuff. So, this video came about due to a short little discussion in the comments on my most recent chapter review for Jujutsu Kaisen with Almost Otaku. Go check his channel out. He's always down in the comments, always supporting the channel, always has his head on straight, always has great grounded ideas that he can explain and everything. So, go check him out. He just did a Sukuna video recently. He's got plenty of Kaiju number 8 content. Did a video about the first chapter of Chojin X. If you haven't seen that, read that, check that out. Check out his video. All that stuff. Something that Almost Otaku said down in the comments, which I think is important for everybody to remember. This is really, really up for interpretation. This is just discussion. This is just to have fun with. So getting into it, I really kind of just want to delve a little deeper and talk more about Naoya's mindset, his inner feelings, what's really going on inside of Naoya, because I get the feeling that there's a lot more going on inside of Naoya's head than he lets on to most people. He's just on the outside, calm, cool, collected. I'm strong. I'm supposed to be the next head of the clan. Mad at Megami because he became the next head of the clan. Screw you guys. Like, that's just outset right there. Base image. There's so much more than that going on inside of that head. So, starting with the most recent chapter that hasn't had the official release yet, 151, going to this first page at the bottom with this panel, that is the look of sheer terror on a child's face when he saw Toji. Now, I really want to put this into perspective entirely, this whole situation, because before we get to this panel, we get him saying, I'm a genius, everybody says I'm going to be the next head of the clan, all of this, yada yada. So this kid is hailed on this high pedestal, has this high bar to meet, but I'm a genius, they say I'm a genius, I'm going to meet that bar, no problem. I'm also told there's this failure. No cursed energy, nothing. So right now in this child's mind, he has this high bar to reach as a genius, going to be the next head of the clan, and he hears about this failure. I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I heard about genius, I'm like, oh, that bar's pretty high up there. And I heard about failure, and I'm like, it's like right around here. So that's probably the idea Naoya's getting here as a child. And then that happens, and he sees Toji. And the look of sheer terror. Because, yeah, even as a child, Naoya could instantly see, oh, okay, this dude is like extremely strong and terrifying, and why do they call him a failure? This is scary. So, I have a feeling that might have kind of skewed that little image of those bars in his head and kind of messed some things up. So, his whole family's telling him genius, head of the clan, calling this guy a failure. These bars start getting a little wonky because now all of a sudden this child sees a failure and goes, I can't even see that bar. Like, I don't even know how strong he actually is. But in a child's mind, you still have to assume that I'm genius, I'm head of the clan. That means my bar has to be above that? So, what? So I feel like there's a lot going on inside of Naoya's head from a very, very early age. Now, he was able to see the fact that, okay, everybody else was kind of dumb when they called Toji a failure. They just really couldn't see his power. But that doesn't come full circle with Maki in the end. Which is why these feelings of inferiority, and I don't even know if inferiority complex and superiority complex are the right words to use, or terms, or conditions, I guess you could say. I don't know why I said I guess you could say those are conditions, but anyway. I don't know if those are the best ways to describe this. I think it is a very mixed, jumble bag of emotions that are going on inside of Naoya. And something that I actually went and took a look back at that I didn't realize was going to fit in so well to all of this was actually his fight with Choso. Because yes, in chapter 151, he has that little panel where he thinks back to Choso, which we will get back to that when we come back to this chapter. But I want to go back and read some of these lines that are said between him and Choso and some of the reactions and everything that happened, and why I think this actually ties in really, really well to some of the stuff going on in this discussion. So we're in chapter 142, and Choso has just used Flowing Red Scale Stack to, let me remind you, increase his dynamic visual acuity by shoving all of the blood into his extraocular muscles. And yeah, that was a way I did not expect. I didn't expect you could use Flowing Red Scale Stack to give yourself the Sharingan, but yeah, you can. So that was crazy. But getting back to what's actually going on, because of this, he was able to start keeping up with Naoya. Naoya instantly pulled out a knife that he had hidden, and he used it to, well, use what you use a knife for. So after he does this, he tells Choso not to tell anybody, because honestly, it isn't cool for a sorcerer to walk around with a weapon, so keep it a secret. Those who wield weapons are dependent on them to win, and there are a lot of sorcerers who carry them around. The way my older brothers show them off is pathetic. I'm amazed at how they complained about Toji. So there's something I pick up on more than just the, okay, well, at least he's gauging Toji right, and the fact that he understands he is stronger than his brothers. This is all accurate. He understands his superiority to his brothers. Those are accurate feelings, because he is stronger than them. But his brothers wear their weapons on the outside. They're not ashamed to wield them. It doesn't bother them. It bothers Naoya to have a weapon on him. He hides it in this armor of superiority, of not needing a weapon, because, well, a superior sorcerer doesn't need a weapon. Naoya carries one on him. He's ashamed of that. There's something going on. He doesn't like it. That's mental stuff right there. So, that kind of just is another little tiny thing that tells me there's things in his head that he doesn't really want to accept or outwardly show to everybody else. That's not really something people who feel superior about themselves and their place in the world do. Yes, he understands he is superior to his brothers because, well, he is just physically stronger. He can beat them in a fight. It's just proper feelings there. The inferiorities having to carry that weapon on him, doesn't like to show that part. So, that is part of why I think things like that. But I actually want to carry on with this chapter because there's more that Choso gets into that I think kind of eats away at Naoya because he does end up losing this fight. Choso asks him, he says, so you hate your brothers. Naoya carries on, he says, yeah, that's right. There's no point to big brothers who are inferior to their little brothers. They should hang themselves and die. Alright, so this tells me one thing specifically that I want to bring up for when I go back to chapter 151. The reason Naoya is so mad in chapter 151, because he's mad. He's just screaming the whole chapter at Maki. You're fake, you're not him, yeah, just yelling at her. He's mad. He's not mad because she killed his brothers. He had a smile on his face and was messing with her, asking if she had a human heart when she dunked his older brother's head in the pond. He's not mad for that. So there's another reason he is so mad in this most recent chapter. Anyway, Choso carries on, he says, but maybe it's because of them that you are who you are. Naoya is disgusted by this even thought, but Choso says, whether they are superior or inferior, older brothers are role models for the younger brothers. If the older brother takes the wrong path, the younger brothers can avoid it. If I take the right path, my little brothers can follow behind. What if you're strong because your older brothers are weak? You asked why I'm tough. I'm telling you it's because I didn't have someone to guide me, so I kept making mistakes. What has Choso told Naoya here? Choso has told Naoya that he is as strong as he is because of his inferior older brothers. It wasn't just because of him and his strength. Other people helped build him to where he is. Choso got to where he is on his own through blood, sweat, and tears and nothing else. And Choso's about to beat Naoya. And then to add insult to injury, Yuta walks up carrying Yuji in one hand and smacks Choso with the other hand, making it look just easy. Granted, I'm sure Choso wasn't 100% after his fight with Naoya, but still, that's a little salt in the wounds, just a little bit extra for Naoya to look there and be like, seriously? Took all that and you just walk up like, man, come on, for real? God. Like, just that little extra, just everything piles up after a while, guys. It does. You know this. You can look at yourself and admit in personal life, stuff builds up after a while. I fully admit this. Things build up, man. This stuff can build on Naoya a little bit. Because, well, chapter 142 isn't that far removed in the Jujutsu Kaisen timeline from 151. There isn't no big time jumps here, so all of these interactions are happening pretty quickly. So, moving on back to chapter 151. Why is he so angry at Maki? Well, I kind of believe it's because Ranta compared her to Toji. Goes, she's just like Toji now. We have to stop her here. Naoya looks up to Toji a lot. He's one of the few people he really accepts as superior to him, as that level that he wants to get to. And to have somebody called Maki just like Toji, somebody he's stepped on his entire life, this has infuriated him. This is just more inferiority coming up that is now all of a sudden being called superior to him, and he really can't accept that. It's made him very angry in this chapter, I feel. So, this scene he goes back to. It's the one with Choso. He said, I won't stop. I won't screw up like last time. And he's thinking about when Choso let all the blood out. He did not expect that. He failed in that fight. He got surprised and was beaten in the end. This is still nagging away at him. All these inferiorities seem to nag away at him and make him angry and eat at him and terrify him and all of these things. All of his superior acts are just kind of, for the most part, pretty well founded. But anytime any kind of inferiority comes up, whether it's needing that knife, hides it. The stuff with Choso keeps nagging at him. Stuff with Maki, being called like Toji, makes him extremely angry this chapter, and angry to the point where the only things he can say to her this entire chapter, like directly to her, are, you're a fake, you are not Toji. That's all he can say to her. He is angry. These are the things that make me feel like these inferior feelings he has are what really eat away at him. And the superior ones are much more just kind of baseline, well-founded, like, yeah, he's technically correct when he thinks he's stronger than the people that he thinks he's stronger than. Except for when you get to those kind of people who are like a little bit stronger than him, or maybe a little bit weaker than him, but if they get the upper hand on him, they might be able to beat him. When it comes to those things, those are the insecurities that make him really feel this inferiority to where he gets angry when things like this happen. And he tries to hide these knives and all of these little things like this. So those are just what I picked up on. Let me know what you guys noticed. Let me know what you guys thought. And I'll see you next time.